Welcome to Careers in Discovery, your window into the world of biotech leaders. On each episode, we interview the industry's leading executives to understand how they built their careers, what they've learned along the way, and the advice they'd give to their younger selves. Taking him from New Delhi and Bangalore to Kentucky, Tennessee, and now California, Lalit Sharma's journey through drug discovery has been one of relentless learning and ambition. Now the founder and CEO of a stealth mode company tackling the data gap in AI-driven drug design, Lalit reflects on the lessons of building small, high-impact teams, the importance of lifelong learning, and why good storytelling is just as essential as good science.
Welcome back to Careers in Discovery. I'm very excited to say that today I'm joined by Lalit Sharma, currently CEO and founder of a company in stealth mode. Welcome, Lalit.
Hey, Emma, thanks for the invitation. Yeah, I hope our conversation adds value to the listener of your podcast.
Absolutely. So shall we talk? I know there'll be information that you can't share, but shall we start by talking a little bit about the work that you're doing at the moment?
Yeah, sure. So at my new company, we are solving the data problem for AI in small molecule drug discovery. So in last 4 or 5 years, physics-based models have drastically improved the way medicinal chemists design molecules and prioritize for synthesis. But machine learning is still not fully integrated in the drug discovery, especially drug design process. And the main reason for that is the lack of target-specific, large, reliable data set, right? Which is the oil of any machine learning model, the data set. And most of the companies which claim to do AI-based drug design, they are mainly doing 2-3 things. They are either using those same physics-based model or building a different version of those models, or they are just doing virtual screen of millions and billions of compounds by just either brute computational force or active learning method. And the companies who are actually building machine learning models, they are trying to build global models with the hope that those global models will be applicable to most protein targets. But in reality, whenever a drug hunting team is starting a program, there is rarely any reliable large amount of data set available to train any machine learning model. And to get any target-specific data set, most of the researchers, they rely on literature or big public data set. So imagine if you're pulling data from 20, 30 publications where different teams have performed the experiment in different ways, you are introducing so many variability you can't even account for. So using that kind of data is not just messy, it's just a wrong way of creating a data set for training any machine learning model. So that's the problem we are trying to solve. So we're tackling this lack of data problem by building a unique lab-based platform. So our platform is designed to generate large library of compounds focused on a given target. So we call it target-specific chemical evolution. And after synthesizing those compounds, we screen it. Our platform allows us to screen it quickly, and we are able to identify a advanced hit quickly while measuring more than 1 million protein ligand interaction. So that screening allows us to generate a rich quantitative data set, which is target specific. And then we can use that data set to build target specific machine learning models. And we can do that within weeks. And the goal is that then incorporating those target specific machine learning model to drug optimization cycle where those models can assist medicinal chemists to make better decisions. With the hope that ultimately we are going to do less iteration and which will allow us to nominate drug candidate faster. That's the ultimate goal. That's what I meant, right? We're trying to solve the data problem in drug discovery, by generating target specific data set in controlled lab environment to build target specific machine learning models.
Yeah, fantastic. It's like anything in life, isn't it? It's only valuable with the information that you put in. And like you said, if you're putting in loads of dirty data, you're not going to come out with any clearly defined trend.
Exactly. Yeah. So we are data first company.
Yeah. So you said that it will take, like, so once you've built the data and you've collected all of that, it will only take you a couple of weeks to be able to
Hmm.
then look at target specifics.
Yeah.
How long is it going to take you to build up the data to start with?
So from designing library to make library and then doing screening, it all takes like hardly 1.5 months total. So that's a
Yeah.
like large amount of data you're creating within a few weeks.
How exciting. And as the CEO, what part are you playing? Are you hands-on in the lab still?
Oh, so being a medicinal chemist by training, yeah. So my goal is not just to like raise funds.
Yeah.
It's also doing some lab work also. Yeah.
Rolling up your sleeves.
Yeah. At the beginning you have to do everything.
Yeah. Well, I suppose that leads nicely into my next question, which would be, how did you decide on a career in drug discovery?
It was more of a like continuous learning and slowly evolving process. So during like my early childhood, science and math came natural to me. Like I think they were more interesting because they were more logical for me. And
Yeah.
slowly chemistry became passion. Initially I was more interested in physical chemistry, but then when I started going to organic chemistry lab, I was like, oh, I can synthesize a molecule which even nature hasn't synthesized or can't synthesize.
Yeah.
That was fascinating to me. But later on, I realized why nature doesn't want to synthesize those molecules. So then that passion of like synthesizing molecules shifted to designing molecule or more like medicinal chemistry, like designing molecule to treat diseases. And like medicine chemistry is unique because we are doing multi-parameter optimization. We are making sure that compound we are designing goes to targets a specific protein while not interacting with other proteins to avoid toxicity, and we are optimizing oral bioavailability. So many things we are optimizing together, and
Yeah.
that aspect, like multi-parameter optimization aspect, is challenging, but it's intellectually very stimulating for me. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. So talk me through your career steps, sort of leading your education and then leading to
Mhm.
the most formative parts of your career.
So for me, like the biggest decision which I made to which changed my life is coming to US. So I was born and brought up in New Delhi, which is capital of India.
Yeah.
And my parents actually came to Delhi from a very small village. Uh,
Okay.
so obviously there were some financial challenges early on. So my mom knew that the only way to get out from that for this guy is to focus on education. So
Yeah.
that became the focus. And as I mentioned, math science was always exciting for me, and slowly chemistry became focus. So I ended up doing bachelor's in chemistry honors, followed by master's in chemistry honors. And I joined a PhD in India at Indian Institute of Science in Bangalore, which is like one of the most prominent research institute in India. Because I had no intention of coming to US or going outside
Oh,
of
really?
India. Yeah. And there I was doing physical chemistry, and then within 6 months I knew that like very basic research is not for me. I wanted to do more applied research and go back to organic chemistry. And the problem in India is like changing lab is very challenging. So like, what's the best thing I can do? Let's go to US, and yeah. So I started applying and ended up going to University of Kentucky for my PhD. So that's where it all began.
What do you need to make such a move from one continent to another into a country where you probably didn't know very many people? There's so much to adapt to. How do you get your mindset ready for that challenge?
Uh, like as I mentioned, I had no intention to go outside India, because like maybe it was more comfortable, or I just wanted to stay in India. But when I knew that for my career growth or for learning more, US is the best place, right? And especially when I came to US, but I realized that in India, education system is more focused on theory, and here in US it's more practical. So that was very interesting. And obviously early on it's always challenging, especially for first time immigrant to come to US. But I was at University of Kentucky. They had a very good system of managing international students, making sure they are ready for this like a big cultural change. It worked out eventually.
Yeah. And I suppose integrating with your new peers and looking for mentorship and things like that are important too.
Exactly. Yeah. And like for my PhD, I still remember like doing my first few meetings with my professor. I was like, okay, so how long you think it will take me to complete my PhD? And he was like, you're in organic chemistry. It takes 5-6 years to do any good quality work to get like 3-4 good quality papers to graduate. I was like, so if I can get those 3-4 good quality papers in 4 years, I can leave.
And then was your thinking that you would go, you would stay in the US then, or did you think you would then get your PhD and go back to India?
That was the original plan, going back to India, and fast forward like 15-16 years, I'm a US citizen now. So
yeah.
Once you are here, you realize that the amount of resources you have and the people you are surrounded with intellectually is just the best place to do science.
Yeah. I noticed you did your postdoc at the Children's Research Hospital.
Yeah.
How was that experience?
So after finishing PhD, like when I was applying for postdoc, because that time I was interested in going to academics, becoming a professor. So that's why I went for a postdoc. And St. Jude Children's Research Hospital was amazing place to work for. So I was surrounded by lots of smart scientists. And so I had to up my game also. And St. Jude had like unlimited resources. So only limiting factor there was like, is your thinking or your idea. If you have a good idea, you will definitely find a collaborator to do that unique experiments you want to do, or generate that good quality data. So it was like really a great place to work at. And I also remember, right, at St. Jude, there was a cafe. And the unique thing about that cafe was even the children who used to get treated at St. Jude, they used to come there also during lunchtime.
Lovely. Yeah.
So like as a scientist, when you're grinding in lab and you have failed experiments, right, it's very easy to get demotivated and all that. But when I used to go to the cafe, see patient, that used to give me broad perspective that, okay, why the work we are doing is important. It's okay to get frustrated, but it just gave a bigger picture to me. Yeah.
Yeah, and it helps you keep things in perspective as well, doesn't it? When you see how brave children are when they're thrown into situations.
Yeah. And fortunately, actually that time I realized that I'm more interested in designing a drug or developing drug for patients to help like patients. So the best place to do that is industry, right, where the focus is just that rather than basic research. But fortunately, my postdoc work was actually a full-fledged drug discovery program where we were trying to find a drug for a rare neurodegenerative disorder. And fortunately, my program worked really well, and eventually the compound or my program was acquired by BridgeBio.
Wow.
So it's like from postdoc, I got a program which is in clinical trials. It was actually the second program in St. Jude history which went in the clinical trials as a new chemical entity. So it gave me a good story to talk about. Which
What a fantastic achievement.
yeah. No, I'm very proud of that. Yeah.
Yeah.
And that actually helped me to give credibility to my medicinal chemistry expertise, which helped me in getting my first industrial position. Yeah.
And are you still involved in that?
So, like once that program got acquired,
Yeah.
and then I joined my first job at Nurix. Actually, Bridge Bio, they reached out to me. And because I was the only chemist on that program, and it was my baby, so they were like, "Would you be interested in being a consultant with us to make sure that we don't want to lose that expertise you have built in being involved in that program for a long time."
Yeah.
So, and I asked Nurix, which was my first company. They're like, "Is it okay if I join them as a consultant too while working for you?" And they were like, "Yeah, there's no competition, but that program does compare to what we are doing. So yeah, feel free to do that." So they were kind enough to allow me. From that program, actually, I saw not like just doing basic research, but how to take compounds to clinical trials. So I got a chance to see the whole process very early on.
Such a valuable experience. Was there anything, whilst you're sort of consulting for them and you're seeing that go through move into clinic, were there any big surprises?
So big surprises in terms of what?
In terms of the process, or any hurdles that you had to overcome with the science?
Yeah. For sure. Like early on, the compound we selected, we saw early toxicity in our animal model, so we had to go back to our data set, compound data set, and see if there is another compound we can select. So there was that process where we ended up selecting a second generation compound, which eventually went to clinical trials.
Yeah. Again, it's great for you to experience how you overcome those hurdles, isn't it?
Yeah. And that's what drug discovery is about, making sure that you overcome those small hurdles.
Yeah. And then, so following your time with Bridge Bio, you then moved on to another small Dice Therapeutic?
No, so my first company I worked was Nurix Therapeutics. So I joined them when they were, I think, around Series B. I was 70th employee. Right now, they are a public company with 4 clinical assets. So that was my first company. And I joined their lead discovery group. So that time, they were trying to build their internal DNA encoded library platform. And they were looking for a medicinal chemist, like a chemist who could think like a medicinal chemist. So because they were building the library from the beginning, and the problem with DNA encoded library at that time, which were out there from a commercial vendor, was the hits which were coming out were more flat, non-drug like. So most of the chemists were not happy with a Dell platform. So since they wanted to build the platform internally, they were like, okay, let's start from the beginning. What kind of molecules will be included in those libraries? If the molecule can be drug-like, then it will give more confidence to a medicinal chemist. So because of my medicinal chemistry background, I actually became a bridge between our lead discovery group and our medicinal chemistry group. So initially, I helped them build that platform, validate that platform, and I still remember, like, just within 1.5 years into my first industrial job at Nurix, I was presenting in board meeting because that platform was exciting. We were able to validate and give confidence to medicinal chemists that okay, this platform actually generates good quality hit, which you can optimize and make drugs out of it. So yeah, it's still one of the best company I've worked for. The culture was amazing. Yeah, so that was very good first industrial experience I got.
You mentioned there that the culture was fantastic. What was it about the
Yeah.
culture that suited you?
So for me, like the collaborative environment is really good. As I mentioned, this was my first industrial job.
Yeah.
Still, I was allowed to ask lots of questions. The collaboration within different teams was really good, and everybody was like interested in what the other person is doing, how they can help the other person to do their job well also, right?
Yeah.
And that, as mentioned, right, within 1.5 years, I was present to board meetings. That time I didn't
Yeah.
appreciate that thing because like for me, it was just another meeting. I did some good work. I'm just presenting to it in another
Yeah.
meeting. But now I realized that they were, the culture was so good that they were confident enough in my skills to present in board meetings too.
Yeah. And it's so nice when it can happen organically, like without you
Exactly.
knowing that it
Yeah.
was a big deal and without putting the pressure on you.
Yeah. Then after Nurix, I went to Dice Therapeutics,
Nice.
which you mentioned. Yeah.
Yeah.
So they at Dice they had a different DNA and library platform, a different version of it, and there I got chance to lead a program from the beginning. So that was a very good experience for me. And Dice was also a very good company to work for. It was a very small team. Like
Yeah.
with just 20, 25, 30 people, we went public.
Wow.
So since the team was small,
Yeah.
everybody was doing everything. Everybody was involved
Yeah.
in lots of projects, and management was excellent in capital allocation. Like that's the
Yeah.
best thing I've learned from that, how to manage
Yeah.
capital, which hopefully I will be able to use in my
Yeah.
current venture. Yeah.
When a company is smaller like that and everybody's got they're wearing multiple hats,
Yeah.
um, it can sometimes be easier for bigger companies when it's almost like a relay race and you do your bit and you pass the baton on. But when it's a smaller
Mhm.
company, everyone needs to work so tightly together, don't they?
Exactly. And like the question you were asking a question to me earlier, right? Whether I'm going to go to lab or not, right? As a CEO or not.
Yes.
At Dice, there was a time where like a work has to be done, which is like hard manual labor, where
Yeah.
everybody was just weighing compound in lab. And it was
Yeah.
very tasking. We had to weigh like almost 5,000 compounds. And so we had shifts. Okay, in this shift, these people are going to weigh, and CEO and our CSO was also part of those shifts. So like
All on the
very
rotor.
basic work, even a medicine chemist should not done, but even CEO was doing it because
Yeah.
they're like it needs to be done, and we have to roll up our sleeves and do it. Yeah, and that was amazing with Dice. Yeah, and eventually Dice got acquired by Lilly last
Yeah.
year.
Been part of the Lilly spending spree. They've been making some really good acquisitions and
Yeah,
making good investment. Yeah.
yeah. At Dice we had the IL-17 program, and which was interest to Lilly.
Yeah. And then, so following Dice, then you moved to Next RNA.
Next RNA, yeah.
Yeah.
So when I knew that it's time for me to move out from Dice, I was looking around, and it was like 2021, where like every company was raising large amount
Yeah.
of money. There was lots of free capital out there, so hiring was on full flow. So that time, actually, I had 5 job offers.
Wow.
And I ended up selecting Next RNA because of 2 reasons. One was science. They were trying to modulate, like inhibit RNA. So
Yeah.
RNA was a target using small molecule. And I was like, that's one of the toughest problem to tackle. I was like, okay, the science is exciting. If it works, it's gonna change a lot of things, how drug discovery works. And also at that time they just raised the seed funds. So very small company. I was one of their early management team person. So firsthand, I saw not just like how to build team, but how to build company. I saw what things we did correctly, what mistakes which we made. So I'm applying all that knowledge to build my own company.
We beg, borrow, and steal our knowledge, don't we?
Yes, yeah. And that's been part of my, like, whenever I decide to make the next move, that's I always try and move to a smaller company rather than going to a bigger company, because with smaller companies you get chance to, as you mentioned, wear multiple hats. You got to do a lot of things, and you learn in the process, right? Because my ultimate goal was to start my own company, so those gaining those experience quickly was important too.
I expect it's bittersweet though, because you've had so much success in the programs that you've been involved in, at all the different companies you've been part of, but ultimately that leads to an acquisition.
That's how drug discovery or biotech world works, right? Moving anything to clinic or doing those long and capital intensive clinical trials is challenging. So that's why the company either they sell out their program to big pharma so that they can do large scale clinical trials, or that becomes a part of their exit strategy. But I'm fortunate enough to like being a part of the company who actually became successful.
And I suppose you're playing to your strengths, aren't you? Whilst it might mean finding the next great thing and the next great exciting piece of science, you're playing to your strengths by always discovering.
I don't know that's a strength or not, because it like luck is also a part of the game, right? But luck only works if your eyes are open to that. So fortunately, I was able to make good decisions.
When you look back on your career, what lessons would you say you've learned along the way? As well as keeping your eyes open, of course.
So from the beginning, for me, as mentioned, back home in India, right? My parents came from a village. They were super ambitious. So they were doing lots of, trying lots of things. And early on, my mom took charge of my early education. And the most important thing I learned from her was importance of being a lifelong learner. She's like, you can learn anything if you put enough time and energy to that. And that's my motto as a father also. If I'm being I will consider myself as a successful father if I'm just able to teach that to my kid. The value of being a lifelong learner, especially these days, it's very important where things are changing more drastically, right? Every day, new technologies coming up. So making sure that you are learning as you go is very important, and it comes with uncomfortableness, right? When you're learning some new thing, you are tapping into in a territory which you don't know, right? So that makes you uncomfortable. But if you're not uncomfortable, then that means you are not growing.
And I think there used to be a stigma that confidence set very closely with knowledge, and that to be confident, you almost had to know everything. And I think the world is really changing. It's very acceptable to not know the answers and to want to go and find the answers. And nobody's the finished article.
Exactly. And you can't be an expert on everything. Most of the successful people, they are an expert in a particular field. They don't know. They don't try to be jack of all trades, right?
What piece of advice would you give to somebody who's early in their career, or maybe who, like you thought earlier in your career, thought academia was the right path for you?
Mm-hmm. So along the same line, like the previous discussion we were having, like building expertise in one particular field, so especially for early stage scientists who are doing PhD, postdoc, or just into their industrial career, build that expertise in one field. Once you have that expertise, then you can branch out and start learning about other things. So like I'm a chemist. As a chemist, if you're building an expertise in as a medicinal chemist, after gaining that expertise, you can branch into biology, right? You can start learning about how the biology is working, how the whole drug discovery process works. So getting that first expertise is very, very important. And that's where my another advice to any early stage scientist is like learn how to ask questions.
Yeah, great piece of advice.
Yeah, it's not just like it used to be uncomfortable for me also, right? Asking question in meeting settings. But first you have to learn how to ask question, and soon you will learn how to ask good questions also. Right. Yeah. And once you start building your expertise in one field, then you can actually ask, even if it's not a good question, to an expert in a different field. Right. That's how you grow your knowledge in other fields also.
Yeah, and it's almost about sort of widening. So when your knowledge is within a certain area, you extend it a little bit beforehand. You expand it afterwards and find out what happens next. How do I apply this to the next area?
Yeah.
And you keep going all the way until the product's launched.
Yeah, and that's where like drug discovery is complex process where like different experts has to come together to make sure that you're reaching to that ultimate goal of bringing drugs to the clinical trial and hopefully to the patients. And like when you, especially like early stage scientists, when you're building expertise, you also have to learn how to be a good storyteller. You can do amazing science, but when you're presenting that work or talking about it, if that passion doesn't come or the storytelling skill doesn't come, it just becomes very challenging to excite anybody else about your work. So learning skills of good storytelling is also very, very important.
Yeah, I completely agree, because people still buy from people, and if one day you've got the aspiration to have your own company, you're going to need to be able to impress investors. You're going to need to be able to collaborate and win partnerships. And all of those strengths come from storytelling, don't they?
Yeah, and that storytelling also evolves, right? Like early on, you're just talking about your work, in the scientific sense. Then when I was presented to board meetings, right, that storytelling has to be changed to a broader audience. And now I'm a CEO, I'm presenting to investors who don't even understand the technology, what I'm trying to do, right? Or maybe just understand bit and pieces of that. So now I have to change my storytelling differently so that they also understand what I'm trying to accomplish.
Yeah. Do you have any advice on how people earlier in their career can kind of strengthen those muscles in storytelling? Have you got any ideas of situations they could put themselves in or opportunities they could seek?
Like only thing I can advise, but I did, which worked for me is first you have to put yourself in uncomfortable positions where even if you don't want to talk about the work in meeting setting, you have to push yourself to talk about. I was presenting in meetings where I was uncomfortable in presenting. I still remember my St. Jude project, right, where I went to a meeting and presented a work to a big drug discovery in a big drug discovery conference, and then later on I learned that I presented my presentation was just after a very big guy in drug discovery field. And at that time I didn't know. So I was like, so I was compared to that, but the people, the scientists and researchers came after my presentation, after the meeting got over, they're like, oh, your presentation was much better than that guy. So that gave me confidence that, okay, no, I'm a good storyteller, or actually I know how to present that work. So that's how I built my
Yeah.
my way of like building my storyteller. And also like when you are listening to different presentations also, right? What I used to do is I used to note down, okay, this is what the mistake that person was making, or this is where the good thing they did. So you're learning from others also, like what good thing they are doing, what bad thing they are doing, which you think it's not working. So yeah, building a scenario on those things.
Yeah, and taking the time to reflect, because sometimes I don't
Exactly,
know
yeah.
about you, but when I stand up and talk, I get so nervous during it. I often don't remember the actual experience, and I have to really spend some time to reflect afterwards.
Yes, for sure. Yeah, reflecting is all. Getting feedback and finding somebody who can
Yeah,
give you honest feedback is also important.
yeah, absolutely. That's really
And
good advice.
yeah, and one last thing is the mistake I made during my early stage of career. I didn't spend enough time in networking.
Okay.
So my big advice to early stage scientists, like invest time in networking. Like as I'm mentioning, my PhD, where like I was talking to my professor, can I graduate in 3-4 years, right?
Yeah.
And in PhD, only thing I was doing, either I was in lab or in cricket ground, like playing cricket. Because
Oh,
when I was so focused in finishing my
yeah,
PhD, I wish I had spent some more time in like networking. And networking doesn't mean the people who are in your lab or the kind of work which you are doing, just networking with the similar kind of people, but networking outside your
yeah,
expertise. Like if you're a chemist, network with other biologists. Because those are the people who are going to be your either future reference for your future
yeah,
jobs, or they can be your potential co-founder in future, right?
yeah,
You never know. So those building that good network of people and adding value to that network also, so that network becomes a long-term network for you. So
yeah,
that's very, very important.
yeah. That's a really good piece of advice and very honest of you. Sometimes we can be so focused on a goal that we forget to look up and look around us, don't we?
Yeah.
So, some exciting times ahead for you and your business. What does the rest of the year look like?
Sorry, I didn't get your question.
Oh, did it cut out? I was saying that it's really exciting times for you and your new business.
Yeah.
Um, what does the rest of this year look like in terms of the goals?
So a goal, like since we just started our company, so the goal is raise funds so that we can do the science which we want to do. So that's the main focus. Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, this year is fully dedicated to that. Yeah.
Well, I wish you every success. It's been an absolute pleasure hearing your story. Thank you very much for joining us.
Oh, thank you, Emma.
Thanks for listening. If you enjoyed the episode, please like and subscribe and share it with someone else you think will benefit. And for more podcasts, videos, blogs, and insights, come follow me, Tom Froggatt, on LinkedIn, YouTube, Instagram, Medium, or TikTok. See you next time.